So we are now recording the 9/15/2017 Small Business Accounting Advisors. And Sarah was talking to us a little bit about how she survived the storm. Would you like to, I'm sorry, recap? You're here?
Basically, we had to fly back from Boston early, which sort of sucked, but got back in late Friday night and then started packing. And then we watched that hurricane like scoot over to the west, except that it was so freaking large. We're still going to get nailed. So, you know, it was one of those, and we've had evacuations before where you sort of close to the driveway and you're going to leave at the last second. You know?
With everybody else.
Yeah. So originally the entire city was under mandatory evacuation. Then at the last minute they changed it to our barrier islands. And so I was still in a mandatory evacuation. Now, you know what thing I learned about that? And during Matthew, that's when we had all the tree damage. It was a Cat 2 when it went by, and massive trees down everywhere. And a guy was killed on Isle of Hope. He sent off his wife and kids and then wanted to protect his house from looters. So he and the dog went back to spend the night in the house. And an oak tree obliterated the house. Ugh. So, of course, she's on Facebook this time going, you know, pretty graphic. And what happened was, because it was a mandatory evacuation, the life insurance won't pay out. He's got little babies. I'm just like,
that's so sad.
So but you know what? People don't know that, you know.
So like an act of God or something.
And we didn't. Well, what we did
a consideration or a reason you left.
I know. So, what we did was, Mark's office is about a mile away, and it's 3 stories, and it's concrete, and it's got hurricane windows and everything. I said, we're spending the night there. And there were other people, mainly tax people, like, we got the 15th coming, you know?
Right.
And of course, you know, now I'm married to the Boy Scout, who is always worst case scenario. So, I mean, the house is demolished, things in the attic, packed up, both cars to the hilt. And at that point, I'm thinking, it's going to be a really bad storm, but it's not going to be anything, you know. But you let him pack. You let him do his stuff.
So were the servers in your car?
We had the server, 1 workstation. I have enough equipment to set up a satellite office just like I did in Matthew, because I was gone 3 weeks. We had no internet. So we had all that. And then he was driving back and forth to the office taking stuff, you know, like his favorite bike. And so when we showed up with that last load, it was just like, they're like, so we had the bug out suitcase. We had the bigger suitcase if we were going to be gone for months. You know, we had work clothes. We've got a routine, you know. And then, so we're coming into the office with all this stuff, the dog. And we're like, oh, I didn't even bring anything to change it tomorrow. You know?
And y'all are moving in.
I'm married to Mark, okay? So, but note to self, we've got to invest in some better air mattresses because it was carpeted, but it was hard. It was a lot. But the break room's all glass, and it's sort of up on a little rise looking over they've got a pond and everything. And it was just sort of surreal how quiet it was in the building, but we had front row seats to the show. I mean, Monday was, and it would just like, it would like calm down, and then just we watched that little pond go hard.
Wow.
So, yeah, we never lost power or internet. So I think there'll be a lot more people in that building next time.
So how long were you out of your house actually?
24 hours.
24 hours. So a day.
Yeah, a day, and then came back to no power. But it was going through our propane so fast. We have a generator. I turned everything off, and the hot water heater and AC I didn't want to run out of fuel.
Right, right.
So, and then it got hot. Oh my gosh, it got hot. So that's what's miserable.
Is the no AC.
No
absolutely.
AC. I mean, they lost what are they up to? 8 people in that
Nursing home,
nursing home? 7 or 8 that are, some are intensive care, and that's all from heat.
Wow.
It seems kind of amazing that the hospital is like a block or 2 away. That
There's going to be criminal charges on this one.
I would think criminal negligence.
Yeah, because the owner's already in trouble with the Medicare fraud and all kinds of stuff.
Linda, repeat that. You broke up.
I thought that he said that there was a Costco store a block away. Did somebody suggest they could have taken all the old people over to the Costco store?
No, it was a hospital.
Hospital.
Oh, a hospital.
It was an actual hospital.
But apparently they'd been.
Like when we had the evacuation where so many elderly died because they got out on school buses with no AC out on I-16 for 15 hours.
Oh.
They took sheets and had tied people to school bus benches. No bathrooms, So that's when the whole community came to get that, all the nonprofits, all the nursing homes and all that. They changed all the regulations. And they have contracts with buses, the tour buses, the big air-conditioned bathroom buses. Those go to the elderly first.
Yay.
School buses is what's, what's left over. And then that's when they built the arms that close the on-ramps to I-16 so they can turn the highway around.
Oh, got it.
So when they turn around, then all it all goes towards Atlanta. All lanes. That's really creepy when that happens, when you drive on the left side.
People on the other side going the same way.
Right. Wow.
Hopefully all the arms are closed.
Yeah, no, exactly. But, you figure all of Florida was evacuating into Georgia, and Georgia's trying to there's just too many people. I mean,
6 million people are a lot of people to put
that's
somewhere.
a lot of people on the highway.
Oh.
And people. So, I know what I wanted to tell you. So, hurricane related. Anyway, the end of the story is the shed got smashed, and I've got some more repairs to do, but we're cool. But
Awesome.
did you see what I shared about the Tesla cars, the ones that run on the batteries, the electric cars?
No.
Juice.
So during the hurricane, they sent out a software update to the cars that enabled the battery to go longer. And if you start reading about it, and what it is this is a perfect example of value billing. It costs the same to make the battery. And then they say, if you want this much battery that lasts this many miles, you pay this, or it's like thousands of dollars more to get the one that goes even further. So many people just went with the smaller battery.
So not
Same
fair.
battery.
The battery is the battery, and
The battery's the same. The software throttles the capacity of the
That
battery
is so not right on so many
based on
levels.
what you're willing to pay.
Ah.
So
So-
nobody really understood that it wasn't a hardware thing; it's a software thing. So
Right.
they had people stranded on the side of the road trying to evacuate Florida. They came in and just let everybody. They just did a software update and gave everybody extended battery,
Cool.
like to today or something, in the middle of September, and then they're going to throttle them back.
Right.
So people are like raising hell, but you know what? Perfect
I just
example.
can't-
It doesn't matter what the part costs; it's what you're willing to pay for.
Well, and how valuable is that to you?
Right.
I get all of that.
If I only drive to the office and back and I don't go very far and I don't need all that capacity, I'm not going to pay a couple extra $1,000 for that for the whole battery.
Seems like it's kind of scalping tickets. So I mean,
That's what it seems
price
like to me.
gouging.
Going for all the market can bear.
Yeah, yeah. But at least tell us that they did it for free. So that was nice of them.
So Larry, are you with us?
Expose them.
Yes, I'm here.
Huh?
How did your daughter make out at the hospital?
She got her power back like the next day, so that was good. Still waiting to hear from my grandson. So, I'm not sure. I asked him, when do you get your power back? And he hasn't answered yet, so apparently he didn't get it back yet.
Yeah. But he's okay.
But she said they were all okay, so.
Awesome. So
How
your
did,
daughter stayed at the hospital and was one of the workers that was taking care of anyone that was stuck in the hospital and could not evacuate.
Yeah, I think the nurses have part of the rules are that if they're on duty, they have to stay on duty if there's a catastrophe.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they work the shifts in the hospital, but it's like it's just like police officers. I think if they're on duty or whatever, they get to call them in regardless.
Right,
What town?
right.
What town is she in? What town? Is she in Florida somewhere?
Yeah. Yes. Trying
Or
to
near?
think. I can't think of the name of the town. It's like above Boca Raton.
Oh, okay. On the
It's like
west coast.
between on the east
Oh,
coast.
East Coast?
On the East Coast. East Coast.
Oh, East Coast. Yeah, sorry.
So
So my
I know. How many people do we know of that were on the East Coast that ran to the West Coast and the during hurricane shifted?
Well, I had a friend that was on the West Coast, and they were happy until Saturday. They were in Tampa, so I know, got all kinds of floods, but they survived. My daughter in Alabama survived.
Good.
Told me about all of the people that came up from Florida, and got to talk about the difference between Alabama people and storm hanging around the house and Pennsylvania people. Pennsylvania people, when it's going to storm, all the stores run out of milk, bread, and eggs.
Right.
Well, of course. Isn't
Down
that
where Jess is, she said I could get all the milk, bread, and eggs I wanted. I couldn't get a cracker or a potato chip if I had to.
And water.
And water. So it tells you Pennsylvania's worried about eating, Alabama's partying. Forget
But those things need refrigeration.
Well,
Another
that's
thing is
true.
like,
actually
That's
milk,
true.
bread, and eggs? Milk, maybe. Eggs and bread don't.
yeah, you're right. Eggs and bread could, but milk would. Yeah.
Usually the storms in Pennsylvania are happening in the wintertime.
Right.
you're
That's
not
not an
worried about-
issue.
Cold. It's the warm part. And that's what she said. At least we're warm here. A
Yeah.
little too warm.
A little too warm.
That's true. I wonder where Brandon was. I wonder if he was back in Arkansas.
I haven't heard from him. I haven't heard any more from Deb Kilsheimer.
Look.
Um,
Well, I've seen her posting, so I'm like, okay.
oh, good. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Peggy went back to her home in Florida and is living off of Vienna sausages and crackers.
I know. I'm getting hooked on ravioli. Because we don't buy that stuff,
Right.
But I love ravioli and was it little O's?
Oh, yeah.
Spaghetti
Well,
O's?
I'm sorry to be a downer, but look at how much salt is in there.
Oh, that's such crap.
Yeah, but if you have a case of them in the closet or something for emergency, they would last probably forever. They probably have all kinds of preservatives.
Yeah.
I'm
Salt,
sure that
Unless
they
they're in
do.
my house and I have, all of a sudden I went, pasta.
yeah.
But there was so much junk at Mark's office and people had brought their entire refrigerator. So it was a big party.
Well, if you're going to lose your power, you might as well.
Mm-hmm. But it is funny. They call it hurricane junk. People go into these convenience stores. That's a weird, we're coming back from the airport and the only thing that was open was a convenience store. And I said, we have no food, zero food at home. So if we end up not evacuating, we're in trouble. So, we were getting convenience store,
Right. So all you can get is chips and crackers. Pork rinds.
We're surviving. The dog did so well.
Oh, good.
Penny was in heaven.
Yeah. Oh, she loves all the attention. And then she was sharing her little bed with, forgot the dog's name. It was another dog that was there.
Good, good.
So she got a lot of attention then.
Mhm.
Well, they'd been away for so long that
I know. We were traveling, and we're traveling again Wednesday. I'm going to Louisville. There's the security conference. They call it DerbyCon.
okay.
So, and I have family there, so I tag along so I can go.
So
see
how did your presentations go at?
Mm.
How did your presentations go?
Okay. And Linda can tell you. What happened was they gave the newbie the largest room. So I was up against, not only did I have the largest room, I was up against 3 of the best speakers. They jumbled all the best sessions together and nobody could decide what to do. So, and then the other thing was I was on a little 4-foot stage with a table in front of me. I'm used to walking around and that threw me. I was afraid to get too far from
Walk off the stage.
So when I started, half of my brain is going, oh my God, what did I do wrong? Where are my friends? I had a party, nobody showed up, and I can't see anybody.
Oh, you couldn't see us?
No, I could see you. Praise God. Thank you, Linda.
But you could hear me.
I could hear you. Thank you. But there was no energy. So I would do something I thought was funny or say something funny. And if it hadn't been for Linda, I mean, it was dead. The room
No
was like a
feedback.
comedian, and then tough room, So, and then the other half of my brain's going, stick to the script. You can do, And so I got flustered. So I'm sure the tape is horrible, but
You'd be surprised. Sometimes you think you feel, it doesn't look as bad as you think it's going to look.
no, it was bad.
He's done. I'll give you my opinion.
Okay. So now, but the thing is, my content was valuable, was good. So I had partners of firms coming up going, I can't believe this room wasn't full. This is such an issue. And so I think they learned. I think I got across what I wanted them to learn. The other is, we went to dinner with Doug Sleater later, and he's like, we've all been there. I had to get my feet wet. It flustered me. Oh, the other weird thing was in my brain for the last year. I've been practicing over my left shoulder with the PowerPoint. I get out there and the damn thing's on the right.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was weird. So it was all those little things, now I've experienced it. But I tell you what, not having that energy, when I did it in Atlanta, I was close enough to the people. I could see their faces and Donnie Shimoto, he was fantastic because he was like very animated and going, yeah. And so I was trying to key off of him and try to get some energy because I felt like I was standing up there talking to nobody.
Yeah.
So I guess if you speak to a really big audience, that's what it feels like. You're just, so
You just have to focus on a few people, though.
Flushed. I had no idea how many.
Well, usually when you speak to a big audience, you just try to pick out certain people and just focus on
Well, that's what I did.
them.
I looked at Linda, and I looked at Donnie, and then my husband kept giving me hand signals I didn't want him met, so that distracted me.
Yeah.
Yeah, please don't help.
No, because he started flashing numbers to me, and I'm like, is that how far in I am or how much I have left to go?
Right.
Oh, and the other thing, and so Doug said he liked what he saw when he came in, but there's actually software where I could have zoomed in on the screen because even though it was a massive screen, you really couldn't see.
The contrast was not really good.
No, it was too pale. It was too washed out.
Yeah, and the bigger the screen, the more that happens.
Yeah. So that'll definitely do different if they ever ask me.
How involved is Doug Sleater in this conference now?
Well, he's on the board. He's
on the board. Okay.
On our advisory board, and they tried a lot of new things this year that just didn't work.
Yeah.
I heard that Intuit was not there.
The what? Well,
Until-
I know. I don't know what their problem is.
Well, I'll tell you, from being at home, I did not see a whole lot of people posting from there.
Right.
Not like years past. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be, everybody would be
Well,
tweeting.
a lot of the West Coasters just didn't come over. And
Yeah.
we haven't been around long enough to get the East Coasters, but a couple things. The other thing that killed me was, first of all, the West Coasters are still asleep. You know, they're just like in a daze, and there was nothing to energize and start the convention. I think there still needs to be a loud music and, you know, welcome keynote to get everybody pumped up. And it was just like, we woke up, ate breakfast, went right into class, you know, and it was dead. It was absolutely dead. So, and then the trade show was on a different floor. So,
And it wasn't the first day. So when you walked downstairs the first day, there was no trade show there.
no, there's no trade session. It was all sessions. First day was all sessions. Second day was like,
It's like you're going like, well, I thought there was going to be a trade show. I wonder where it is. And the other thing is the walk from the hotel over to the convention center, although it was inside, was very long. I mean, it was like you walked a mile. It wasn't a mile, but it felt like a mile.
And you were at the Sheraton too, weren't you? Which is the closest hotel. Yeah.
Although my roommate and I, Megan,
Yeah.
Megan, she's a friend of yours, Sarah. She and I are renting an apartment that are across the street from, I hope they don't move where they have the conference, because we will go right across the street into the front door, and it'll be a lot closer than walking through the building.
Really?
Yes.
Well, the front door is still pretty far.
I was kind of curious, crowd size wise, how is that compared to Sleater's? I mean, number of people
We had
attending.
1,000, not
Okay.
counting.
It's huge, but we found a much nicer apartment, like a 2-bedroom apartment.
Oh, really? That's
To
neat.
share, and it's got a full kitchen and everything, so we can have a party
I
if
do
we
that
want.
too.
And it's right over there where Trader Joe's is and all those other restaurants and that. So
Yeah.
we'll just be closer. We won't be tucked behind where you have to. It turned out to get to a certain street, you either had to walk the long. The whole block was like a pentagon. It took me about 3 days to figure this out. I walked around it.
I got lost multiple times, and I would get turned around. I have a really good sense of direction, I thought. But even on level 2 or level 3, where all the sessions were, I would get turned around, and then I ended up, I don't know where I was, and some guy started helping me. I'm like, I had no clue where I am.
Right.
And he's taking me down, you know, little hallways and storage. I'm like, what the hell? Oh my God. And all of a sudden I'd pop out where I belonged. I'm like, oh, I don't know how I got here.
It was funny because by the way, Sarah, I want to say, I would say your presentation was at least a B+ and very likely an A-.
Really?
Absolutely it was, because of the valuable content, and you did.
I worked so hard on that.
You did, and it was excellent, and that's why people came up afterwards, because they were very touched and inspired by that part. You missed the energy. That's a lot, I think, an East Coast crowd versus a West Coast crowd. A lot of that. We're just more wild and crazy out here on the West Coast. So if yes, and they know enough to. Boston was a whole kind of weird energy to me.
Energy was weird. I don't know if it was the hurricane, because so many people were concerned about their own houses or family, but I was like in a weird fog all week. And I'd walk into vendors and I go, do you feel that? And they're like, yeah. It's just like
Anxiety.
yeah, it was just like you could cut it with a knife. It was really weird.
Well, I imagine a good chunk came from Florida and other, southern states.
I know. So, I don't know. I'm glad it's over.
Well,
And now we're going to be in Boston 3 more years. So,
Right.
awesome.
and they'll get a different layout with enough notice. They can actually rearrange the whole thing. and we'll get everybody on one floor. Because one thing about setting up the food near the trade booths with the tables along the edge,
Yeah, that's fine.
high tops, people walk around with their food,
Yeah.
you know, and the networking's better. When they made it sessions over here and trade show over here, we weren't networking.
Right, and
Yeah.
there wasn't anything consistent. Breakfast was at 7:00 one day. It was
Right.
at 30 the next day, and it was at 7:00 the day after that. It's like,
And everybody there were like these extra long sessions on Friday, so everybody missed the keynotes. That
Yeah.
was worth the trip right there. The Damon John.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
he
Yeah.
was phenomenal.
What was the subject of the keynote?
great too.
He's
She.
oh, you're talking about Randy Zuckerberg.
Yeah, she was great.
She was great too, and about her, you know, going to work for her brother and her background, and then she has kids and
Yeah.
her whole. I liked the whole internet and family.
Yeah.
You know,
I like the thing now she said about it's always nice to have a man's name.
I miss that
A lot of people, and when she walked in and said, "Hi, I'm Randy," their mouth went,
And then Damon John, his whole story is fascinating.
Ah.
Oh, what a little pit bull. From the time he was itsy bitsy, he was wheeling and dealing, and you couldn't tell him no, or you couldn't tell him you failed. Well, I went left, I'll go right. I mean, that energy and that attitude, that stick to it attitude is just, it was fascinating to listen to his story.
yeah.
You know, and you know what? It was all about the networking, wasn't it?
It really was.
He met and who he would connect. You know?
I think that's with anybody, though,
Oh, yeah.
actually.
And wild and crazy. Remember, he told the story about stalking people.
Sounds like our girlfriend Mariette.
Yeah, yeah.
Hanging out in that guy's front yard, yeah.
And Misha was great. Misha was all over the place. She
Yeah.
was great.
He said she
Joanne's
walked 5
such
miles every day.
Fantastic. Joanne's, she was fascinating. She was really good.
What did she talk about? Social media?
How to make video and
Great.
she actually went into all the equipment that she uses and
Mm.
all kinds of cool hints and things.
Mm.
And
Awesome.
you know, yeah.
Well, she's lost some weight,
Linda,
hasn't she?
before we get to your subject, I just want to talk about Larry's question. He's asking about Murph's recording this week on Enterprise 18.
Okay.
Yesterday. I do believe they do record it, and if you attended, you should get an email with that recording.
Well, my attendance was pretty choppy. I attended on a cell phone,
Oh, okay.
and
Oh, yeah.
it kept cutting out on me. And
Oh, that's frustrating.
just
Well,
got-
Comcast,
Yeah.
somebody cut the fiber, and Comcast went down from Jacksonville all the way to Charleston.
Jeez.
So here we are. We finally have power. And like, where'd the internet go?
Right.
It came on right in the middle of Murph's thing, so I missed the first half. So I want to hear it too.
Oh,
Is that
boy.
the one too? The
It
intuitive
sounded like it
account?
was very, very interesting
Yeah,
too. You know.
yeah.
Whether it's being repeated, I think it's the one I'm thinking of because I signed up for it. I couldn't go on the 13th,
Okay.
but it's being. It looks like they've rescheduled. I mean, it looks like they're repeating it on a monthly basis. So I figure there's got to be a recording out there someplace.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm thinking about, usually if my clients aren't upgrading, I don't buy the 5-user pack or whatever for the whole firm. I'll have one in the office.
Right.
But I might invest in 18. I'm liking some of that stuff.
Has anybody actually used it yet? I downloaded it today. but I
No,
haven't used it.
no, I need to test it with TBX.
Yeah.
So. Oh, and Randy Johnson, we had a great talk.
Right.
I could just talk to him for days and days. he's so easy to talk to, and the man's just absolutely brilliant when it comes to technology.
Right.
He is, and he has been on the cutting edge for many,
Oh,
many.
I remember him in, golly, early 80s.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So
And
we
he's
start
such a
talking
nice
about
guy.
his company and what his company does. And, you know, he was involved with all kinds of startups and software and stuff. And I'm like, you know, I don't know if I can afford it, but I would love to talk to one of his team and go, look, I'm sitting on this TVX and I don't know what to do with it.
Right.
So,
Good.
and then when I got back, I got this phone call from the largest sage reseller in the country. Actually, they're in 30 locations and all over the world.
Wow.
Huge. And so, you know, I this was back there and no heat. I mean, no AC. And anyway, so he said who he was or something. And I'm thinking, oh, it's just one of the vendors from the No. He said they have such an influx of people migrating from QuickBooks to Sage. And he said, normally we just give them a list of everything that we need and how they get it, you know?
Right.
And he said he had a client with, I don't know how many QuickBooks files, 30 of them. And he goes, they found your program. And he said, then we recommended it to somebody else. And he's like, you know, can we talk? He said, I don't know quite what I'm envisioning, whether they should just refer or you know, I need to raise my price really if I'm going to do an affiliate because on $100. That's what Hector said. But I'm working on redoing how we're doing the licensing now. So I could give them so many licenses that they can bundle it with, you know. Anyway, that was interesting. I said, well, let me, that was in the middle of the hurricane. So I'm like, let me see if I'm going to have an office. So I sent him a message today. That was pretty cool. So I don't know. Maybe it's about to turn.
Yeah, could be. Could very well be.
Well, you might want to start thinking about raising your price then. I mean,
yeah, when I get this new update, because the other thing is, you know, I envision the export a certain way, and that's the way I had it written. And then Ernest came in and he goes, look, if you want raw data, I don't want headers and stuff. And I'm thinking, well, you can erase it. Once you get in Excel, you can erase. I'd rather give too much and let you erase it. And he's like, no, I think you just need an export that's just data, you know? And I'm like, okay. And that would save people time. And he had a lot of good ideas and ways to lock down the license.
Start using your program in ways that you didn't think or envision.
Right.
So, Hector wants me to do a working trial balance like you can do in the accountant's version. Apparently you can't export that to Excel.
Oh.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, me either. How dumb. So, you know, like last year or the year before last year, debits and credits and adjusting, you know.
And that saves so much corruption problems to just start new, fresh, with a clean database and then just import everything in from your program.
Yeah. So, one more little trip and then I need to, you know, I'm already started. I'm going to work with Karen and, you know, double up with a video.
Wow, that'll be awesome.
I haven't heard from her to see how her Florida house did.
Yeah, I haven't heard from her either.
Who?
Karen Magno.
Magno.
I saw her on Facebook.
Yeah, so did I.
I think they're fine. I mean, she didn't say anything.
Because she was up there at Cape Cod.
Right, but I'm sure they have neighbors down there.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So anyway, did you learn anything new at Accountex this year?
Well, Yes and no. I went to Mario's,
I love Mario. Yeah.
and it's always nice to review all of that and
Mm.
how you figure out if an app is a good one to use for you. That was very helpful. The other thing I want to share with you is that the first day I was there having, I think, breakfast the first day, I'm sitting there and this woman comes up to me. Her name is Pam Menicelli, and her business is called In Sync Bookkeeping, and she's out of Albany, New York. She lives in a town just north of Albany called Colony. So I was born and raised in Troy, which is across the river. So I right away, we felt a kinship. But she says, well, I know you. And I said, well, that's really interesting because I don't remember meeting you. She said, well, that's because I've met you, but you haven't met me. And I said, oh, this is getting more and more interesting. Tell me how we do that. And what she does is she can't listen at the time we record this. So what she does is she goes on tomorrow or the next day, and she has been listening to our videos for a year or more. And
so everybody say hello to Pam.
Hi, Pam.
Hi, Pam. So I hope, well, she must be a member of our group.
Yeah.
So if she has questions or comments, Pam, please put them in the group. We'd be happy to explain anything further. Happy to discuss things more.
That's right. We consider you a valuable member of our
famous, Linda.
You're not physically here when we record. So
Absolutely.
anyway, it was a real joy. I had somebody to do a lot of things with. We met a lot, exchanged cell phones, and she's getting ready to just add on an employee.
Who's this?
She went because she
Pam?
has In Sync Bookkeeping.
Mm-hmm.
So she has bookkeeping clients. And so I also got some more ideas for
Schlock up? Oh.
things
We
that I
lost
do
you.
where I'm
You
setting
You got
up
more ideas for what?
setting up for getting them in touch with marketing and other things, because a lot of the vendors, I went to a presentation down in the vendor area, the exhibit hall, on DocuPhase. That was very impressive.
Was it?
And it really was, because it talked a lot about workflow. And I know that's all very important to a lot of my clients. And just like Gina started this 4 years ago, so we would be able to keep up with the technology, half of them have no clue what's available out there. Everybody's like that. They've been in business and they just don't know.
It's amazing.
It's even like Seth David is up on everything. I'm lying in bed this morning and all of a sudden I'm scrolling through Facebook and all of a sudden I see Sarah typing and Gina's talking and Dennis is talking to Seth, and then Seth finds something. He can't find Nimble, but he finds Noisy and something else. And here's somebody who's always into all these apps, and he found I don't know how many apps that he'd never seen before. So and one of the ones everybody uses, of course, is Slack, which I always disliked, but basically I disliked it because when I uninstalled it, it took off a key window.
Oh, that's right. You had a computer problem with it.
Yeah, and I lost my local area network, but I got that fixed for $50, so it wasn't too bad. That was really my fault for not clicking the right, don't take that off, leave it on. And but there's another program, and I didn't realize called Basecamp, and I love Basecamp.
I used to use that. It's too expensive though.
Yeah.
Oh, but there's a free version, isn't there?
No, I was using it about maybe 7-8 years ago, and I really liked it, but it just was too expensive. It got to be too expensive.
They might have a free version, but sometimes they throw out all those so badly that.
I use one that I'm almost positive is free. So, but I'm just a user on it, so I'll have to explore that fuller. But I'm thinking my Holistic Chamber of Commerce could really use Basecamp for teamwork and streamlining processes. And, and that's what Sarah, that's been on our website and between Maine.
I think that there's a real need for CRMs and bringing all of this together. And that's what I consider something like that. I mean, CRM is a lot more than that, but it's also, the project management, the workflow, the teams, working with teams, everybody talking the same way, because right now you can have a telephone conversation, you can have a text, you can talk on Facebook, you know what I mean? So many different ways beside just email.
I've got one client, all I do is text them because that's the way they respond. I've got, there's a thing called Mighty Text. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's an Android thing. Anyway, it allows you to type it use it on your computer. And so you can use your keyboard. It's not like you're sitting there punching on your phone with.
Nice.
Oh, that's nice.
I like that. Is that MIGHTY, Mighty Text?
Mighty, MIGHTYTXT.net.
Good.
So I don't know if it's an Apple. I know it's on Android. I'm not sure if it's on Apple though. It's become pretty useful because I use it with my daughter and people that don't respond to email very well. Like
That's what I'm using Marco Polo for.
Okay, that's right. Oh, I forgot about Marco Polo. Then the other thing.
So many. I am overwhelmed at this point by the number of apps and different apps that do the same things. They overlap. I'm looking forward to them kind of funneling down to just a few of them.
It's kind of like a Venn diagram,
I know. We need a brain, like Seth's brain program, just to keep track.
Well, that's one of the things we were talking about in our working lunch with account techs was how can we present where it's the most useful, and so we have this it's getting bigger.
Oh yes,
bigger and bigger.
Yes.
So, and that's when
Donnie's favorite thing.
And that's when Donnie said, "I like the way Sarah did her session," because I started off with what the problems were and what I felt we needed to do to solve it, and then I highlighted 5 different products on the market, and then I ended with a deep dive on the product I use. And so he really enjoyed that, to get ideas and questions and things, things that he would ask.
Oh, exactly.
So I stayed in one genre, which was, collaboration and audit prep.
Yeah.
And,
different products work for different things.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you what, I am loving Wunderlist.
I do
really
too.
like it.
I do too.
It is just so dead simple. I mean, I'm playing with the new Results CRM, and these programs
Too
are
much.
great, but it takes so much. You have to put so much information in them to get the information or the flow that you need, that just starting it is overwhelming.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I'm using Wunderlist for now is like I have a personal section, and like, for example, I can never remember the number of my laser printer cartridge. So instead of writing it down someplace, I just wrote it on Wunderlist. And so now whenever I'm at the store, I can just pull out my cell phone and look it up, or, things like that, where information you need to have, but you can never remember.
All right. And I think they were just bought by Microsoft.
That's what I heard, which isn't very encouraging.
But,
They tend to ruin things.
No, they tend to drop things. But
Yeah, that too.
But it's so easy. It's just so quick and easy.
And that's the part that I really like about it. It's just like a second to put it in, and then
it's everywhere. It's on it's iPad, iPhone, desktop, Microsoft.
Yeah.
Well, I really like that Momentum software that Seth was using, because I use that now. It just really helps me stay focused. Because it integrates with like Wunderlist, and so I can have it pop up, and so I can I can put. Pardon?
Is that like Wonder, WUNDER, or WON?
WU. I typed it wrong the first time. Second time is right.
It's
Okay,
like
and it's list. It's not less. Got
list.
List.
Wunderlist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. I really like it myself. It's simple.
Because I just typed it in Google, and Google didn't come up very well with it.
I try not to get, squirreled with the shiny stuff anymore, but who was it today said, has everybody seen Go Company? GOCO for onboarding new employees and contractors?
Wow, wow.
So I lost about an hour. So I have all these ideas that if I could just get my hands on the owners and go, this thing would be so cool. So what I envision is a dashboard for accountants. Here's all my clients, and I'm the admin, say, for all this, but I could have like HR managers at each client site to be able to go in and onboard a new hire, which is just name and address and email pretty much. And then you can upload or attach their contract. And then you just step back and the people get an email, welcome to blah, 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 company, blah, blah, here's your contract. They fill out all the W-4, all that online.
Sounds like 17 hats.
Yeah, but they don't collect human resource. I mean, the W-9s and all that stuff, and signed, and so.
Wow.
Anyway, so I was looking at, but I want it designed more like a service bureau instead of. I mean, I could use a alias email for every client and do that. But
here again is where a CRM would be wonderful to collect all that information for you.
Yeah, but it's so highly confidential. It has to be, what it does is it's fill in the blank, and then it populated the actual W-9 and the actual form.
Oh, got it. Something you definitely can't use Google Docs for.
I wonder if Slack.
That one, Sarah.
I wonder if Slack. Well, I don't know about the confidentiality there. I wonder if Slack would be good for that.
Well, you need something where they fill it out, it populates a form, it lets them sign it, and it's completely secure. And it's a checklist for onboarding, like, here's your contract, here are the forms I need,
I-9s, W-2s, or W-4s.
Payment information, except I couldn't get out of that window. And I'm like, well, what if I'm a contractor? I'm not giving you my payment information. And what if I don't have a bank account? Not every employee has a bank account. So that was the first thing I sent him. I said, I couldn't get past the screen.
Right.
So,
what program?
it's called GOCO.
Got it. I remember you saying GOCO. Right.
Yeah. And so I have a big logo. I pretended to say, I did Fred Flintstone, and, I pretended.
I guess maybe that wouldn't be Slack.
Yeah.
That's right. It's more like 17 hats or something like that. But
that's doing
I
the
don't
process.
know.
Once you send things in, then it sends number 2.
Right. It was great. It was like in order, and you can do tasks, and then you're getting emails. Hey, somebody just accepted your contracts. Hey, somebody just sent their forms in.
Right.
And then it interfaces with ADP, QuickBooks, all the online
Nice.
payroll programs.
Nice.
Smart Sheet.
Yeah. See, Smartsheet, but fill out what? I mean, you could
Right.
fill out a form, but I don't get a signature, and it's not going to go
Right.
on a true form.
I wonder how ShareFile might do with something like that.
That's then I looked at ShareFile because I design like W-9s for people.
Right.
So I have a customized W-9 for each client with their logo. It's more of a letter format, and I can do a fill-in PDF. So yes, I could use the signature, but I couldn't do a URL for each form. I'd have to initiate it. I'm like, I'd love to say, okay, this URL, the client can like send to a vendor and an employee, and then when they fill it out, it goes into their folder.
Right.
That would be cool.
Right.
You need to work with the
See,
developer.
every program is like so close.
Does a little bit of something what you need, but just not quite everything.
Right.
I mean, can you imagine how long have we been together? We've been together a couple years now, so 4 years. How far it's come.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Can you imagine where we're going to be 4 years from now?
I can't. Well.
If you want to retire.
Yeah.
I'm not retiring. I'm staying in it.
Why retire?
Linda, before we have like 10 minutes left, let's talk about your problem. Your problem with
I think Sarah's probably right. There's no way to do it.
okay, well, explain your problem.
Hold on a minute. Let me see who this is. This is somebody that
I can tell them part of your problem while you're on the phone.
Okay.
Okay, and then maybe I can call. This is somebody that's doing something for me, and I don't know why she didn't. I'm going to ask her if she could text me.
Okay.
I don't know if she has a question, so
Okay.
she's doing some work for me, putting reports from Chamber Master into ShareFile, so I can do something with them. So I'll text her. Go ahead and explain the problem.
So I believe she had the client paid a couple
Inventory.
for inventory. They were misposted to cost of goods sold.
But actually, it wasn't inventory at that time. When they bought,
No, not at the time. It was just a deposit. Yeah, at that point, it's just a deposit. They don't have any inventory. So
should have gone into
inventory wasn't
development for new product.
right. So my thought was the inventory was understated, but it hadn't even been received yet. But it should have been in an asset account,
Not
not expensed.
Right.
Books are closed, it's long gone, tax returns done. So now we have inventory with no cost basis. So every time they sell it, it's like, woo, 100% profit.
Yeah.
Without amending the prior year, woo, it's 100% profit.
Well, I'm wondering, can we just go in and edit that inventory part? And in the inventory part, when you do the edit inventory part, the setup, put in a cost of it?
What's the other side of the entry? Double-sided.
That cost would be associated with.
I know, but
But
then
it would end up
what's
going
the
to
other
the
side of the
balance
entry?
equity.
You
is
know,
what would happen. I know what you're
if
talking
you're
about.
saying-
You're talking about when you set up a new item and it asks you what the cost is. But Sarah's right.
Yeah, but quantity times cost is inventory, and the other side of the entry is, okay, so you could populate inventory, debit inventory, and credit cost of goods sold in a current period. And then it's just going to come back through as it's sold.
Okay.
So do you have like an inventory adjustment
Yeah,
account?
we can do that.
That if you want to see really what your profit is on those widgets, then yeah, I would do an inventory adjustment.
That money that we said was spent on finished goods that year was not.
Right.
Partly what's happening is people are doing things in different parts of this business.
Right.
And
There's a disconnect between the multiple programs and
what they're
departments.
talking about when they say, like, somebody in the other room was the one who bought it and paid the $5,000.
Right.
And now we can't even get a receipt for that from the people because the guy's wife is sick. So,
Yeah.
so we don't really know for sure. He says, we thought it was 30,000. Now it's 100,000. No wonder our inventory is off. Just trying
It's
to
a
get
slight adjustment, Linda.
Yeah.
we
You could do an inventory adjustment in their inventory program. Increases the inventory, the cost per widget. And the other side of the entry is where the mistake was, which was cost of goods sold. Or you could go to an inventory adjustment account.
Got it.
So it's isolated. Otherwise your cost of goods sold is going to be out of whack.
Right.
It
How
was out of
about,
whack last year.
how about if you put the equity as the adjustment?
No, because that's going to screw up the tax return and the.
It has to be done definitely in the current
You
year.
got to do it in the current year without amending.
First,
Okay.
even though that's 3 months.
They'd have to, if it were really material, yeah, you do a prior period adjustment in the equity section, and either the tax accountant runs it through the current year or they amend.
I'm going to send that explanation to the tax accountant too.
They won't even notice it.
You know,
Their
probably
kind of
just a-
volume. What were we
How
talking?
much are we talking about? How much?
$5,000 and millions.
no, they're about
Well,
$2 million a year. This
I think
company.
they would.
So 15,000 isn't that much.
Oh, 15,000. I thought it was 5.
No, it was 3 $5,000 payments.
Well, here's the thing. When you're reading the general ledger, nothing should be going through cost of goods sold unless it's coming from the sales
From inventory.
journal entry.
I know, but they didn't know, and I didn't even think to check it.
Yeah, see, I read general ledgers. I always, you know, I hit a general ledger detail. I start at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I just start reading. Yeah, and you can tell, like, you'll see journal entries or whatever, and then something will look out of whack because.
Yeah, why would they have finished goods? I mean,
Yeah. Why would there be a bill or a check in cost of goods sold when you're an inventory based company?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that really boils down to how deep the review is when you're doing year end or month end or whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to have to review it a lot.
But see, until this client agrees to let you see all the activity that's going in and out of accounts payable and all that in their other module, you're just at the mercy of whatever they give you.
I know.
You know, so, you know, but, and then that was poor coding on their part.
So
But that's a typical mistake. That's typical. Here's one I had today.
Kind of normal, but the people doing the work on accountants, I'm not even an accountant, but it's like, oh my God, this is wrong. I know enough to know it was wrong.
Right.
And I kept printing out all this money we paid to this guy. And the guy kept going, no, that's not it. It happened before. And I said, how much before did this happen? He said, oh, it happened 2-3 years ago. So I printed out every single transaction that we paid these people. The other thing that it was odd about this one is this particular vendor was listed as 2 different vendors, but it's the same vendor. It has names. So I put the names together and I put all the transactions together because I said, you really don't want to have 2 different vendors because it's too easy to confuse. Well, which one was it at this time? You put them together and then you can match everything up, bills and payments and checks and this, that, and the other thing. So I'm starting to get them thinking a lot more about this.
Yeah. Well, somebody's not tracking prepayments because when you get the actual invoice, you should invoice 100% inventory or whatever, the other side of the entry, and then do a negative to your deposits account.
Yep.
And keep track of those deposits to make sure that somebody just didn't take a deposit and never delivered. So that's really poor controls on their.
Oh, it is. There's no question about it.
I had one today. I get this phone call. Point of sale, when you do a receiving voucher, it sends the bill to accounts payable automatically. And so the call was, well, what happens if the owner already put in a bill and paid it, and then now I've got this bill? Can I just delete it? And I said, stop. First of all, let's go back to the beginning because I have a little flow going on. How did he get the bill to pay?
Yeah.
Because bills are supposed to go to the gift shop first. They're not allowed to go to him to pay unless there's a receiving voucher stapled on the back. Right there's the control that I know that point of sale got it, right? And then when he goes to pay bills, it's automatically there for him, okay? So, no, it's down the street, and he was going to walk down there and pick it up. He didn't have an invoice. So there's the first mistake was he just put in a pretend invoice because in his mind, that's all he knows to do to get a check instead of just doing a check, okay? So, because if he'd just done a check, we could move it to a deposit account and then apply. So in that case, we copied the receiving voucher information into the memo and then nuked the duplicate. But always something.
Oh, this particular client too, he's got the manufacturing business, which is an S Corp. He started a new S Corp that's like buy houses, rehab them, and then sell.
Oh, okay.
And then he's got his personal account.
Yeah.
Well, and he just doesn't understand. I keep trying to teach him this, and I have him now he's working with 2 different CPAs. One does his taxes, and the other one gives him advice about how the other one should do the taxes. So it's the one that gives him advice is like somebody who's very powerful, very intense. That's his game is saving money on taxes. And
You
but-
think he'd want good numbers?
what?
You would think he'd want good numbers.
Well, he does want good numbers, but anyway.
So you got 2 CPAs. You got
and I'm trying to referee this whole thing.
yeah,
So when we
herding
work,
cats.
so the buying the houses and that, he's doing it 2 different ways. And I told him it's very important. I have to have these pieces of paper, and he's not showing them to me. He says, well, it all goes through the bank. Do it in the bank account. I said, but the bank account doesn't tell me who you wrote the check to and what it was for. And one of them, he actually loaned money or put money in with his cousin, and his cousin did the buy the house, do the flip, sell it. And I never saw any of the paperwork for buy the house, sell it. Okay.
This is the craziest thing.
He's bought a house. And I said, well, it's very different if you're loaning money to your cousin to do it. And then you're just going to get some interest out of it. Or you may get,
Right.
you know, like he's just careless about any proper stuff, making it proper or appropriate. And I found out that 2/3 of the transactions for these 2 houses that he's bought and sold are in his personal account. And 1/3 of those transactions are in his S-Corp account. So now we have to journal entry everything from his personal
Use it, do froms, yeah.
transfer.
Never mix up that real estate with an escort.
Yeah, yeah. If he wants to do a,
CPA's office Monday morning without me, with all the paperwork, and they're going to put it into QuickBooks properly. Done. Set up classes so you can see, and on all of the accounts I put in ask my accountant, ask my accountant, ask my accountant, so she can get it in the right place. And I'm going to say, let him see how much this costs him, because I'm only getting $750 a month now. It's going to go up to $1,000 a month come January.
Does the CPA know QuickBooks?
Oh yeah, he actually doesn't. He doesn't do any bookkeeping or accounting. He just does taxes. But the people in his office, they do. They're QuickBooks certified QuickBooks Pro advisors.
All right.
And they're quite good. I'm really kind of curious to hear what happens when I come back.
they're going to yell at him and tell him to keep the right
That's a
transactions in the right checking accounts.
That's a good client for LedgerSync. Because LedgerSync pulls up the image of the check,
Yeah,
lets you type in the name on the check and all that.
right.
Won't let you change his date. I keep telling them, I'm not going to use it unless you let me change the date, because I want the date it was written, not the date it was cleared. And then you can import it,
Sure.
checks with it. But it's great because you can see the image. HubDoc's another one where you can see the image. Maybe. Depends on what bank they have.
Anyway, I'm about ready to put them on QBox. So, and that way, because what I have to do Monday morning is at 8 a.m. I need to go to his office, create an accountant's copy,
Why?
because that's what this CPA wants.
Ugh.
He's not going to be able to do anything with it if he really wants to do a lot of work.
You should be using QBox.
Time
Yeah,
with
get the accountant, get QBox.
No, we're not going to have a hard time at
Oh,
all.
wait a minute. The guy already has a QBox, right?
No, not that one.
Oh, different guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I'm at the point where I'm getting everybody onto QBox. It just makes it
Good for
so
you.
much easier.
Good for you.
everybody.
Oh, I love not dealing with accountants' copies or backing
Backups.
up and restoring now at this point. Although you do want to do that backup process periodically to
Oh.
clear out those TLG files.
Well, that's true. And I would always do that because that cleans up any corruption kind of thing too. I
Oh.
would at least do
You know
that.
what else was going on during account tax?
What?
The Cloud9 problem.
Yeah,
And the new owners of Cloud9 were at account tax.
Oh,
that get fixed, Sarah?
Yeah, but they handled that all wrong.
Oh, I know they did.
Oh my
how
God.
should they have handled it?
For like 4 or 5 days.
Some people were down almost a week. And then there wasn't any mea culpa. There was nothing. There was just like, well, we're up. And look at your agreement. You should have been making your own backups. Excuse me? No.
Yes.
And so
Because QBox makes a backup, but Gina says you always want to make the backup in QuickBooks with the complete verification.
right, but you also want to download one to your own computer.
Oh yeah. I always back up all my clients to my computer, and then I'll upload the backup to ShareFile. So I've got it in QBox, I've got it in ShareFile, I got it on my hard drive.
I know.
People missed payroll. People missed. They had no.
I can't.
I'm sure the employees didn't miss the payroll. It's just the records got missed, didn't it? I mean, the accounting records didn't get posted, I'm assuming.
Well, we had no data.
Payroll you have.
People are on the cloud on a hosted server. Typically they don't have QuickBooks loaded on a local machine, though they could get it because they.
But I mean, the employees aren't going to care that they want their money, right?
No. And before the hurricane, it was great because I didn't even have to say anything. My gals are great. They called all the clients and said, "Give me estimated hours. We're paying them. Just get money. We're paying them now because you can pay early."
Right.
For today, because the hurricane hit on Monday. So she was doing payrolls last Thursday and Friday. She said, just give us estimates. And,
and then you'll deal later. Yep, exactly.
We'll just figure it all out when we do it.
Right.
That was great because that just gave everybody comfort.
Yeah.
We had one client where we didn't have enough money in his operating account because we transfer money.
Yeah.
And I went, you should have checked his balance before you evacuated.
Yeah, right.
He went down and got a counter check at the bank for $5,000. I'm leaving town, man. I need $5,000. So next thing you know, I'm getting little checks. The accountant's getting a little low. I'm like, oh crap.
Right.
Everything turned out.
All righty. Well, we are about out of time. I do want to say next Wednesday, watch Desktop Time.
Yeah.
TS is on there. Misha and I will be panelists. So
good.
Yeah.
What is Desktop Time? What is Desktop Time?
It's QBox's
little
webinar, desktop related topic.
Oh, okay.
So it's 1 p.m. Wednesday.
1 p.m. your time, 4 p.m. my time.
Oh,
okay.
I'm on an airplane.
Aw.
Where? Let me see. Oh, man. Oh, excuse me.
All righty, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend. See you all next week, same time, same place.
Yes. Sorry,
Bye.
I just went to my hotel room and zoned out last week. God, I was exhausted. Bye.
Bye.